All right, so we have learned enough concepts about the Stack Navigator to implement what we are trying to achieve, right? So we are trying to achieve that we have a home screen. Inside home screen, we have a bunch of animes, and I want to click on one of the anime. And once I click on that anime, I should go to that anime specific detail screen, right? And we have already created a detail screen, right? So one thing we have to understand that when I click on this anime, right? When I go inside the anime detail screens, I need to know which anime was clicked, right? So the way we are going to achieve it is something called as using params. So you can pass data from one route to another route, that is from one screen to another screen, and it is referred as route params. Basically, the parameters passed from one route to another route. So you can see in the home screen we have one more prop, that is route, right? So if we just do route dot params, we can access the params, right? So what we need to do is now on home screen, whenever this anime gets clicked, we need to go to anime detail screen, and we also need to pass some unique identifier about the anime, right? Whether if it is this anime which got clicked or if it is this anime which got clicked. So without any further ado, let's get started, right? So what we'll do inside anime is that we will change this view to pressable. The reason we are going to do it because we now want this whole thing to become pressable such that user can click on it and go inside the detail screen, right? And we know that pressable gets a prop called as onPress, and this expects a callback function, and that callback function gets executed whenever there is a press event, right? Now what we want is whenever this is pressed, we should be able to navigate to the next screen. And if you see, the navigation is available on the home screen. So we need to handle the on press on home screen from anime. So what we'll do is we'll go to the first interface file and we'll say on press. We'll define the type, and the type we'll keep as a function which just returns void. Now you can see that we need to define on press, and this on press we'll destructure here and pass it to this on press. Okay, I'll slow it down a little bit. So what I exactly did here is first and the foremost thing, I updated the typescript file that I'll need one more prop called as onPress. Okay, now in the anime file, I destructured that prop, and what I'm saying is, see, this is a function. If you hover over it, you can see it's a function. All I'm saying is that this pressable has the prop onPress, which expects a callback function. So basically, whenever there's a press event, this function will be executed. Now I'm not going to define this function in the anime component, rather I'll be getting this function as a prop, and whatever function I'll get as a prop, I'll execute that. So let's come back to the home screen. We have done the exact same thing, that now anime requires a prop called as onPress. Now that prop needs a function, right? And that function now we are handling in the home screen. So I'll just say console.log clicked. Now if I do that, if I open the terminal, if I click, you can see that it's registering the click, right? Now we also need to somehow tell which one got clicked, right? So one may argue that we can use the index. That is absolutely fine, but the point is when we click on this, we are going to make another API call, and that API call needs an ID. So let me just show that. You can see. So the first API which we used was this API, which gave us the data list which had all the animes, right? The list of animes. Now once we got the list of animes, what we can do is we can see that there is a ID field called as mal ID, right? Mal underscore ID. And if we take this ID and if we come to this API, there is one more API, and if we pass the ID /full, we can get detail about that specific anime. So many details are now coming, right? So what we'll do is from the home, we will pass one more thing to anime called as ID, and this ID will be equal to mal underscore ID. Now since it's giving a type error, we'll go to iAnime. We'll say ID is string. Okay, it's not a string, it's a number. Okay, so that's great. Now what we need to do, now one more thing. We'll destructure this ID which we are getting, and this on press now we'll manipulate. Instead of having it just a callback function, we are now going to pass the argument ID. Now it says that there is a type error. Let's fix that type error as well. So what we'll do is, now we'll say here, we'll receive ID and its type will be number. The moment we do that, you can now see that if on hovering on this on press, we will also receive the ID. So let's receive the ID and let's say clicked and we'll say ID. Now if we try to print, let's see what do we get. If I click on this, okay, ID is an object. Something went wrong. Let's take a look what happened. So I'm passing the ID mal.id, and is mal.id having, okay, it's just the ID. Let's go. Oh, we haven't saved it here. So if we again open the terminal, now if we click, you can see the mal ID is 1 for this. It's not the index, it's the mal ID, right? For this, the mal ID is 5. So, right, what we can see here is that if we would have used the index, things would have got messed up, because this element's index will be 0, this one's will be 1, but we don't want the index, rather we want the ID, right? The mal ID. The mal ID is needed by the details API to get the list. The API needs to know which particular anime details you want to fetch. So you can see if I click on the first one, the ID is 1. For the second one, the ID is 5, and some random IDs will be present. For this it's 6, and so on. So let's continue the rest of the thing in the next video. Thank you.